Hi, it's Linda from Linda's Paperworks. Today I thought we'd look at a different way to make some tags with a different kind of topper on them. And I was thinking about stamps and how they could be used to make the tab pull for a tag. And what I did is I used some of my larger stamps that I thought would be appropriate to make a tab like that. This one is this stamp, which is a Stampin' Up! Stamp, and it's the old-fashioned camera. And I put Collect Beautiful Moments on the corner of it and then just ink the edges. These are just index cards that I used, and they're a little bit thin. They'd be fine probably, but if you wanted a little thicker card, you could back them with some paper or coffee dyed paper or some other kind of paper. This one is out of this set. It's this stamp right here. These are all postage and cancellations and things like that. And I got these at Hobby Lobby. It is Hip Stamp Hooray, and it's made by American Crafts. First I stamped it, and then I cut the tag side and fussy cut around the part in between where these, and they're not even on either side. You could make them even, but I wanted to include that one on there, so that's how I came up with that. On this one, I used this stamp, which is a Christmas ball. I stamped it on this piece of, I guess index card is what that is too. And I cut it out, and I was planning to use this on something else, but then I decided I wanted to overlay these balls, and so I put it here in the position I wanted to stamp it, and I stamped the one over here in brown, and then I removed this one and re-inked in red and stamped it over the area that was blank there. And I think that looks kind of cute. I'm still thinking that I might stamp another one and raise it up a little bit. That might be cute also. And then on this one, I used this Mountain Hotel stamp, and it was in a set with the camera stamp, and it's from Stampin' Up! Also. And I just stamped it up here at the top, and then I just cut the sides up. I put this key down here at the bottom. It's also part of that same set. On these, what I did is I used this die for a bird, and there are two birds and some leaves and a stem that goes with that. But I just used this, and I also I cut a piece of that craft foam with the die and glued it to the cardboard to make a stamp. To begin with, I stamped it with the foam stamp that I had made, and then I used the die. I positioned it over that as best I could in place, and ran it through the die cut machine just to here, just to cut the top part so that was fussy cut out in a way. Then on this one, I decided it might be easier to cut first and then stamp, so that's what I did on this one. And I think that way was easier, although this has more white showing there, but it's about the same on their beak. So 6 of one, half a dozen the other, I guess, just whichever way you felt most comfortable doing. And you could use any large type die you could use to do this, I think. So anything that would be appropriate for the top of a tag. And I thought this would be good for Christmas, so that's why I was doing the birds. And then for their nest, I was trying to stamp this pinecone stamp on some brown or tan paper, and I had this piece, and I thought, well, I wonder how it will do on there. Well, it did terrible. But then I saw it sitting there, and I thought, these birds need a nest. So I just fussy cut it out and cut it in 2 pieces and put it underneath them for their nest. And I'm thinking if I hadn't told you it was a pinecone, you might not know. Anyway, that's how they came about their nest. Those are some of the ones I did. Okay, so I thought what we would do is, I have these cards that my uncle, when he worked at IBM, they printed these up. These were the cards, same size cards, that they card punched the data onto these cards, and they would have these boxes of cards with all of these punched cards to run through the computer to process the data. And that, of course, is like ancient history now. But he had gotten some of these cards and gave them to us. I've written recipes on them. I've done notes and just various things with them. But I thought these would be a nice size for tags. They've been around since the 70s, maybe. So they've kind of mellowed and look, they have a color to them. It's not white. This is white. I don't know if you can see the difference there on the camera. I don't like the way this looks on the back at the top when I fussy cut there, and it just doesn't look very nice. So I thought I'd put this piece of coffee dyed paper onto the back of this card, glue it on, and cover that up. Cover the whole thing up, and it will also have the effect of making the card a little bit sturdier. What I'm going to do is just put it on the card itself, and then I will place the paper over the top. I'm going to put a little bit of Fabri-Tac around the edge, just to make sure the edges don't pop up. Might be irritating if you were taking it in and out of a pocket to have the edges come loose. Okay. And I'm going to put this side. Hopefully I can get it even with that. Actually, I'm going to have some contrast here so I can see what I'm doing. I'm just going to put it even with that edge. And take my card here to smooth it out. You can kind of see that red, but I'm going to stamp over that part and cut a lot of that off so that part won't show. So I will just trim this off, even with the edge of that. Just want to smooth that down. I could, I suppose, stamp on this side and use this side for the writing side. This is nice, smooth paper to write on. Either one would be fine. This is copy paper that's been coffee dyed, as I said. You know, I think I am going to put it on this side. I think I may like that. So this is the stamp I'm going to be using for that, and it is one that I got at Hobby Lobby a couple of years ago, and it is a Lily and Val stamp. It has 2017 on it there, so it's been around a little while. I don't think I got it in 2017. Yeah, I got it on clearance for $1.74, and it was a $6.99 stamp, so I felt fortunate to have that good bargain on that. You know, I do love a bargain. At the time this video comes out, it's going to be mid-December just about. Christmas will be just days away, and we'll be wondering where the time went, I suppose. I'm going to put that on this way. Okay. I was thinking about Christmas movies the other day, and I thought I might mention some that I particularly like, and maybe you haven't seen them. Of course, there's always White Christmas with Bing Crosby and Danny Kaye. If you haven't seen that, I recommend it highly. It's a romantic movie, and it's funny, and it's got music. It's musical. It's just one of my favorites. We used to watch that every year. Haven't watched it in a few years, though. Then The Shop Around the Corner with Jimmy Stewart and, oh, I can't remember her name. What is her name? Now, I don't really like the way that's stamped, so I think I'm going to do it again so I have a good impression there. Oh, I forgot to put this under here. This will make all the difference. Okay, oops. Threw it around. Okay, that's a better impression. See how it's faded there, but this one is much better. I'm going to set this one aside for right now so it can dry, and I'm going to go ahead and decide where I want to make my shoulders on this card and where I want to trim it back. just to kind of see where I want to mark it. Maybe there and there. Let's see how that does. First, I'm going to cut that. I think I'm going to leave myself a little wiggle room on that and just go up here and start cutting here to cut this out. You've Got Mail was based on this movie, so if you've seen that, you kind of have an idea of how the story goes. But Jimmy Stewart, to me, is always, he makes any movie he's in extra special. I see that right there. It goes way back in there. I'm going to ignore that for right now and come back to it in a minute, and just, it'll be easier to cut, I think. Same thing on that one right there. And then right there is probably where I want to cut it out to the edge. Another movie that I really enjoyed was, and this is not that old. Most of the movies I like are black and whites, but so far, this is the second color one I've mentioned. White Christmas is in color. But A Christmas Story is the name of it, with Ralphie. You may have seen it. It was in 1983 that it came out, and it's just a cute movie. It reminds me of the way things used to be, and it's funny. But if you like nostalgia, it's a great movie to watch, and it's got now what's his name? Darren McGavin and Melissa. Oh, I don't know. I can never remember the names of these actors and actresses. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and cut this. Actually, I think I may cut this one first, and then I'll try to match the other one to it, which I probably won't do because it's almost like geometry or something. Now, that's a little far that way, but I'm going to put another, I'm going to put this pine cone here as well, so it won't look as off-center as it is there. Oh, and before I cut it out, and I should have done that, but on that, before I cut it out, I want to darken it up a little bit with Vintage Photo. That looks pretty good, I guess. And I think this is, well, I don't know if that's completely dry or not. Let's see how this goes. Oh, I think I better wait. I think I'm going to make a mess if I do that. So I need to wait till that dries. I decided that while I'm waiting for this ink to dry on this pine cone, so that I don't smear it around and make it look like that, I thought I'd go ahead and make the pocket that I'm planning on making for this tag. And what I'm going to do is make a pocket that can be clipped into a journal so that it can be moved if you put it one place or move it to another place. I have this scrapbook paper it's from this pad of paper. It's called French Prep Designer Paper. This was on clearance at Walmart. And there's 50 sheets here, but it's one-sided. So I need to cover the back with, I'm going to cover it with this coffee dyed paper. And I don't need it to be as tall as it is. I want the pocket to be about like that. And so I'm going to cut it off at some point up there. So let me see how far up I want my tag to come. I think I'm going to take it off right in there somewhere. I think I marked it earlier, right about there, so that there's a little bit of space above it, but not a whole lot. And if I need to trim it back some more, I can. So I'll just do that and trim that off. I think I want my pocket to be about that deep. Yes, I think so. I think that's good. So I'm just going to go ahead and fold it down. Increase it with my bone folder. And I think what I'm going to do is add this paper to the pocket here. I hope I didn't do that too. Okay, that's all right. I'm going to glue this paper to the back of this. It's the first thing I'm going to do. Thought I would go on with a few more movies that I particularly like, Christmas movies, old ones. To me, the old ones are the best ones. I'll tell you why I like them. Some of the reasons I like them. I like them because of the costumes, the ones that were set in the 30s, the 40s, the 50s, all those styles of clothing I just think are beautiful. And people would dress up, and men wore ties and coats, suits. Women wore elegant gowns and furs and all kinds of beautiful clothing. That's one reason I like them. And I like them because they were truly funny. It's a little wrinkled on that side, so I think I'm going to place it down this way and maybe avoid some of that. I also like the old movies because of the stories that they had, that the writers, a lot of times it's predictable, but it's still fun, and I don't know. They usually got people into trouble, and then they had to get out of it again. Like Christmas in Connecticut with Barbara Stanwyck. She is a food writer, and she has made up this story about who she is that's not who she is. And so her boss, I mean, she told such a beautiful story about how Christmas was for her, that her boss wanted to come to her house for Christmas. And so she has to scramble to find a husband and a baby, because she talked about those in her column. And I won't spoil it for you, but it's very cute and very funny. And of course, they have a happy ending. And they also have a beautiful Christmas tree. So I recommend that one with Barbara Stanwyck. She is an excellent actress. Let's see, what else did I wrote down a whole bunch of them, but oh, another good one is It Happened on Fifth Avenue. And that's an older one and not as well known as some of the other ones. But it's, I can't think of anybody in particular that is in that one. This family that had a mansion, always went to Florida in the winter and left their house vacant. And there was a man who, every year, he basically broke into their house and lived there and smoked the man's cigars and took care of the house. I mean, he cleaned everything up before he left and replaced all the food that he'd eaten and things, but he had a home for the winter. But he's not the only one that stays there this particular year. And the daughter of the man who owns the house pretends to be somebody she's not, and she's there. And anyway, it's a cute movie. I recommend it too. Everybody gets back together like they're supposed to. And I've got a spot that's not glued down. Okay. All right, that's fairly well glued down. I don't think I got it exactly close enough on that side, so I may have to trim a bit, but we'll see how it looks after I've finished it. Let's see if I can trim this piece off. And then I'm going to have the trick of cutting off the part at the bottom and not slice my pocket open at the bottom. So I'm going to pull this back just a bit. Did I make it? I did. Yay. Okay. So now we have a pocket with a back and a writing space on the back. And I'm going to glue this on here. And that's just about the right size. And I think first I'm going to try it with the card in there and see how we like seeing that all the same. I could add some lace or something to it, I suppose, or some trim. This is not something I would necessarily put on it, but just to see. I mean, you need to do something there. Another option would be to put in a smaller pocket down here too, or one that goes all the way across and cover up most of that. I'm going to glue this down. I'm going to glue it around this, like that, and then glue it down. Oh, it's crooked. Maybe I should do it this way. Get it straight with the world and then do that. And that matched up perfectly right there. Isn't that funny? I didn't expect that. These little glue sticks don't last very long. Back on there. I'm going to trim off that little bit that's there. Another movie that Barbara Stanwyck is in is called Remember the Night, and it is with Fred MacMurray. And it's another interesting movie of about that same time period, the 30s, 40s, somewhere in there. 30s probably. And they're in New York, and she is a shoplifter and steals a bracelet, and he's a lawyer, and he is the prosecutor in her case. And he ends up taking her home with him to his mother's house for Christmas. And that's all I'll say. I won't spoil it any more than that. But it's very cute, very sweet. And I've got just a little bit of white sticking out there. I'm probably making cattywampus now. Okay. Hopefully, I'll let that dry. I'm going to come back to that. I think my pine cone is, stick it under here and let it dry. I think my pine cone is ready to be trimmed out and glued down. So we'll go back to the card. I'm using Distress Oxide Vintage Photo on this. I guess that's fine. I just think this looks better to have the pine cone be darker, and not have the light places on it. It probably still kind of makes it a little bit blurry anyway. And when the other Jimmy Stewart movie that I really love, and it's very well known, is It's a Wonderful Life with Donna Reed. It is also a love story and a cute movie, Clarence the Angel. I would probably watch that one over the rest of them, I think. I'm not sure. I'd have a hard time choosing, so thankfully we don't have to. Do what Rachel says and just get rid of the stuff that annoys you when you're fussy cutting. I'm not the best fussy cutter. I either get too close or too far away. All right, now we've got it cut out. And what I wanted to do is put it where it comes down this way. And to make it look three-dimensional, this is Crafter's Square Pop Dot tape. I'm going to try it on the back of this to make it stand up a little bit off of this. So first I'm going to start sticking some tape down. Yesterday I was using some and I used my scissors and they were such a sticky mess after I got finished that I decided that today I'm going to try it with using an X-Acto knife to cut it. I'm going to try not to be too careful about what goes over the edge, and I'll cut it off as I go. I'll just cut this there. Okay, that worked pretty well, getting that off, but I've got that little spot right there that needs to go away. I wonder, maybe it'd be better to cut it from this side. Let's see if I can do that. Okay. Let's see if that works. If not, I will have to do something else. There we go. I'm going to cut that back a little further. I'm not going to try to get to every edge this time. I've done this before, and it was kind of a lot of trouble to get all the edges stuck. So it's just going to have to be a little bit loosey-goosey. So that it's easier to put together. Okay. All right, that's good on that. And let's see. I think I will put a piece like that. I'm going to try not to go in those places so that I have so much trouble cutting them. Okay, I've got tape on most places on the back, so now I'll just take off all these pieces and stick it down on there. I'm going to start with the small ones. Just pick it up with my knife and the backing on it. This is probably not the best shape to work with this stuff. And it might be easier to have just the dots, where you could just put a dot on each one of those little pieces that are sticking out there. But I didn't have dots. I just had this, so that's what I'm going with today. I may get some dots and see how that goes. And also, I'll have to see how I like having this extra bulk on the tag in the journal, in a journal. I don't know which journal I'm going to put this in. Let's see. I think that's all of those. This one needs it. Oh, I'm almost ready. Thank goodness. Okay. My knife is sticking to the tape. Okay. That is that. Okay. Now, moment of truth. I think I want it to be a about like that, I think. Let's see if I can get a better view of how it looks. Okay, there we go. All right, we'll just stick that down on there like that. I like to go in it both ways because it seems like for some reason this rounder does not always cut it all the way even. It's probably operator error. I'm probably the one that's not putting it in the right way. But it seems like if I put it in right side up and then upside down, then it takes care of that. We have this, and I think I'm going to stamp. I may stamp Christmas memories on this one. I have a stamp that's memories. That's big. Do I want to do that? Is that too big to be on there? And then Christmas with that. I don't know. Maybe I just put memories. I kind of like Christmas memories, though. Maybe I should stamp it on something else and put it on there. Like on here. I'll see how I like it. And then I can tear it off and put it on there. So, since this is all brown, I'm going to go ahead and use the brown ink. And I'm just going to ink the lower part of this. And then I'm going to cover up what I don't want to stamp on there with some washi tape. I've got this Y coming down here that I don't want. Like that. And I guess I will take that star off too. If I want it on there, I'll come back and put it on there later. And actually, I think I'm going to do memories first. Get a good ink on it and on my finger. Okay. Just stick that right there. That's pretty good. And I'm going to wipe that ink off my finger before I get it on something I don't want it on. Okay, pull up my sleeves and get serious. Now, where do I want Christmas to be? It doesn't want to stick down. This stamp, this doesn't represent where this is on the block. And it makes it kind of hard to know how it's going to be. I'm going to put it right there. I think I would have rather had Christmas going the other way instead of slightly down that way, but we'll see how it looks on the tag, and if I don't like it, I just won't use it. That's the thing. Good thing about putting it on another piece of paper is you're not committing your whole tag to this design. You can change your mind. And I'm just tearing it out by hand. And I think I'll probably ink around it, but I'm going to look at it first and see how I like it. Now, I could turn the whole thing and it looks a little straighter, so I probably will do that. And I don't like that sharp point right there, so I'll take that off if I can. And I do think I'll go around it with some ink. Okay. I think I will use the dark ink. And a fairly light touch. I just want a little bit around it to make it stand out. And no, I'm not putting foam behind it. we won't go through that again on this one. Oops. A little extra ink there. So much for the light touch. I like that. I could tear that off and ink it again. I hope I'm not making a mistake to do that, but I kind of don't like the way it looks, so I'm going to do it. I decided to do this in brown. I don't know why. I guess because the pine cones are brown, and I was going with that. But I kind of like the way it looks. It's kind of a vintage look of, I don't know, old times, old-fashioned looks. I think that's where I'm going to put that. I'm getting all kinds of ink on my fingers. Okay. I think I'm going to put it just about like that. There we go. I think I'm going to add ink around the edges too. Okay, we have our tag done. I'm back. My camera battery died yesterday and I didn't finish this, so it's probably just as well because I'd gotten to a point on this pocket that I wasn't sure what I wanted to do next. So I did go ahead and do a little cutout with my hole punch to indicate that's a pocket. And I think it's going to need this on it. And I'm going to stamp on this so that it shows up a little more that it's a pocket. I thought about putting lace on there and some other things, but I could never decide on anything for sure. So I'm going to go with this. Get my paper here, messy paper. I've never used this little deer stamp, and I think he's very cute. So I decided that he's going to get on this pocket. So it's his turn to shine. And I'm going to use my dark ground espresso on this. And since I've not used this stamp before, I think I'm going to stamp it off on a scrap first just to see how it does, and get my piece of felt. And I want to say thank you to Joy Journals for recommending using felt under stamping, because it really does help a lot, and I get better impressions, especially with some of the stamps that seems like this, like larger ones that may have a place that's slightly lower. It just works better to have it on the felt. So thank you very much. Let's get him on here. Oh, that did great. Cute little deer. So I'll put this over here. And put him on there. It looks like he's looking back over his shoulder, so I'm going to put him at this side instead of here. He could go here. That would be fine, but I think it'll look better on the right side. Hopefully that's inked enough. It turned out okay. These are not holly leaves, but I think it's a cute stamp. I'll show you this so you can see the leaves on it are just like laurel leaves or something. Anyway, I'm going to put this on here, and I'm going to test it again over here. And I'm going to put the paper there because I'm going to go off the edge, so I don't want to get it on my green felt. I know this felt is going to be dedicated to stamping now, but still, I might I might need a corner of it sometime for something else. You never know. I don't know exactly how much of that I want on the side. Okay, I'm gonna go for it. I'm gonna change this around because there's wet ink there. I don't want to get more blobs on this. Let's see. Let me turn that a little bit. Maybe like that. Get it all inked around, all the way around. Let's see how that does. Oh, I like that. I think that looks better. I think because this is cut out already, it looks different from that. So I will put him on there. I could always decide to put a little lace across there still. It was this. Of course, I have that divot there, so that won't show up. But let's see what we think here. I don't know if that adds anything to it or not, since most of it's covered up already. Let's see if I'd want to do it this way. Never give up. No, I think not. I think I'm going to leave it like it is. That looks cute, but I think that putting the card in behind that might be kind of difficult. I don't know. I'll go ahead and glue this down, and then I'll change my mind. That's probably what I'll do. I'll probably change my mind. See if I want to put the lace on it or not. We've had another beautiful day today. This is end of November. Tomorrow's the 30th. But I'm filming ahead, so by the time December rolls around, we'll be remembering this fondly. But the leaves have just been so beautiful the last 2 days. We had a cold spell with some rain, and then it warmed up. So it's just been really, really beautiful. And we're just enjoying being out walking every day that we've been able to. We haven't always been able to get out since it was rainy and the holiday, Thanksgiving and everything. I'm going to put this way so I can see what I'm doing. Where I want to put this little dealy. I think I want it about like that. Straight would be nice. Seems like that still has a little bit of wet ink on it, so I need to be careful where I place this down. I don't want to smear. There we go. I'm going to go ahead and glue the sides down. Oh, wait a minute. I was going to look at this lace on here first. Do I want to do that? You know what? Why not? I will just put a little bit of glue on the edge of this and stick it to the lace. And I want the lace to be sticking up. Oh, I cut it off. I'm so distracted. And I'll press that down. And then I'm going to go around along the edge here just to secure that bottom part. Just a little bit right here. Sticky, sticky, sticky. Okay. I'm going to trim that off even there, and that looks pretty good on that side. It's not quite centered, but it'll be okay. And the next thing I'm going to do is just glue the sides down. This is still curling up a little bit, even though it's dried overnight. hopefully the glue that was behind the lace has dried by now and isn't sticking down there. Take this little ruler and go in there and make sure it's not sticking. I think that's okay. And I'm just giving it a little press toward the center just to give it a little space in there. So that is the pocket and the tag to go in a journal. Can be clipped on with the paper clip to a page. Thanks for coming by and watching, and I hope that you enjoyed learning how I did this pocket. And it has writing space on the back. I may stamp something back here too before I'm all finished with it. So anyway, I will put pictures at the end, and I hope to see you next time. Thanks so much. Bye.